everything else. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to After the Bars. It is the morning show with the two convict friends. Met 14 years ago in the shoe. Well, actually, we met on the yard. we hung out on the yard for a while before we both
That's right.
getting sent to the shoe. But welcome to the morning show. Hey, man, how was your Sunday?
Man, my Sunday was pretty good. It's freezing cold up here.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's freezing cold. Did I do a tattoo yesterday? Yeah, I went in on my day off and tattooed a mask, like a Japanese mask on this guy's arm.
Nice.
So so it was pretty good. It was freezing cold. That was really it. Did night yard last night.
I could not do the early. Should we say hello to some people?
Absolutely.
Moral Compass,
absolutely.
What's happening? Lacey Silver, good to see you. Krista Melinda, how are you? Justine is here. Good to have you back, Justine. Galen, hey, Galen, I'm so glad you're here. I really am. Feisty Irish is here, or Feisty Kitty, sorry.
And a banana.
Yeah, Feisty, and we do have Heather Rhodes is here. Paula D. Pendley, Feisty Kitty, not Feisty Irish. Kristen Melinda, Tana Louie, Great Britain, Anna Banana, Robin Bliss. What's happening? Mindy, good to see you. Lisa Trimble, good to have you here. Auntie Monkey Pants, what's up? The gang is all here. It is a lot of fun to have everybody do. The morning show is so much fun to me. Lisa, love Mama Bear. Mariana Wagoner, good to have you here. Love Mama Bear. And Auntie, let's see. Is that Kyle?
Kyle Evenson. Yeah, that's a buddy of mine.
No way. You have buddies?
I do have buddies. He's actually a pretty close friend. I've known him a long time. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good dude. Good dude.
So over the weekend, that story broke about Diddy going to the hospital. This cracks me up, man. The Diddyverse is having so much fun with this. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Guys, I gotta promise you, they didn't swap him out for a body double during the trip to the hospital. There was no clones taking over for Diddy. You got to take my word on this one. Lisa, you're right. That intro is amazing. You know what? That's my partner. He has mad skills. Not something that I have mastered, but I do have a friend.
And that's the intro everyone picked, man. I did a little playlist with all three different theme songs, and that's the one that was the not that everyone picked, but that was the majority winner. So that's pretty cool. I did like the old school rock one too, like just the that one's really cool too. Maybe we'll interchange them or something.
But then I can't see you jamming out with the drums. Like you guys can't see that, but right before we go live, Casper's in there just completely ripping out a drum solo before we kick it. So that's the way to start the show. I'm sorry, it is. Yada, good to see you.
It's me, Coffee.
Is that Fragment did? Well, good to have you here. A little UK action. Well, I got a little announcement. I will be back in the UK today. I'm going to be live on the Sean Atwood program, 9 to 11 in Great Britain time. And we're going to be talking about, go figure, P. Diddy. And I like that. It's good to be talking about Diddy again. So you do realize that the story is now that it's gaining traction that he was going there to meet people from the street to give him drugs. If you had any idea, people, what you would have to pull off and this is even like, let's say you did this at Victorville, where you're in the middle of the Inland Empire and there's not really a whole lot around other than like San Bernardino or whatever is the closest place, but you don't have an option at 25 hospitals. You might have an opportunity to pick a hospital that a person might get brought to if you could figure that out. But they're in the middle of New York, right? This is the Manhattan Detention Center. Do you have any idea how many hospitals are right near that? And I promise you, they got a contract with every one of them. They're not bringing the same people to the same hospital every day. These are people waiting to go to prison. And believe it or not, you can look up, Casper, and you and I may have talked about this. We talked about so much crap, but There
I
have
know.
been some gangster escapes from prison by people doing things like this. The yard that we were at had wires, right, that went into a pole in the center of the and it was to keep helicopters from landing on the yard. And that was put up after the horse already left the barn, because that yard had a helicopter land in the middle of the yard, pick up an inmate and take him off. That is gangster. They got
dude. That's when you think about like all the logistical and everything that it took to plan that and to make that happen. Like just even communicating to the streets, everything that you need to communicate to.
You can't pick up a phone and call them and say, all right, so wait, what time are you going to be there? What are we doing? All that had to be done through code, and oh man. But you know what they did? They picked, of all of the yards, man, if they had done that at some place other than FCI Phoenix, but we have the Warthogs. I don't know if you guys know what Warthogs are, but they're a plane that proves people are ripping off the government of the United States, right? Because this is a plane that they should have done away with probably about 25 or 30 years ago. I heard a pilot say it's living proof that if you put enough horsepower on anything, you can get it off the ground. It's a pig. It weighs like a bazillion pounds, but they destroy tanks. They're tank busters. They go in like 5 of them and they just rip tanks apart with these huge bullets. And what they did was when that helicopter took off to go do what it did, they already had so many of those things in the air doing their daily drills that they do over Phoenix every day that they just said, hey, why don't you go get a look at that? And they forced the thing to the ground. So his escape was really short-lived, but he got
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they forced the thing to the ground and just said, we will shoot this down. As far as we're concerned, you're criminals. You're going to get on the ground and wait, or and you can't really run from those things. They're pretty heavy duty. They at Victorville, they had drone issues, big time drone issues. Like when I first got there, everybody was talking about how things had been dropped from drones, and they got this device. I don't know who makes it, but they have a device. It's a black box that they got, and if you have a drone and you start flying, that thing gets like 30 feet away and just drops like a stone. It will kill all of the. Yeah, so we have that technology. We can keep drones from the body conspiracy. Yeah, Bentley gets it.
Yeah.
People, you got to use your dome, don't you? Casper, how much would I have to pay you to go do the rest of your life in prison if I said you're going in with the best paperwork on earth? Right? We're going to go in and say that you're in prison for killing 25 chomos, right? That's what we're sending you to prison for. Got the best paperwork, that money, rock star. You're not going to have to pay.
Yeah.
What would it cost to get you to do a year, much less say 40? It's just no way, people. You couldn't pay
a year. I could do a year. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be oppositional, but
real.
Yeah. It would. I would do that for $1 million. And I know that's not a lot of money today. I would do a year for $1 million. Get me out of debt. But that $1 million would go like that, man.
I would need 5. I wouldn't do it for $1 million. I've come to the point where I realized that honestly, there are losers.
If I play the tape forward, it would have to be more.
Do it for $100,000. I promise you, youngsters, whatever that would, but you got to get somebody that's 54. You got to match this man. He's 54 years old. You're asking somebody to piss away the remainder of their life. And the first time 4 dudes push up on him in a cell and go, want to talk to you about your paperwork, he's going to go, yes, I did. It absolutely is hysterically funny. I'm not trying to pick on the people that are coming out with this stuff. It's also just as stupid to think, they're talking about how, and I love some of the creators that are doing this, so I'm not trying to bag on them, but they're talking about they're talking about pink like it's a painkiller. He's trying to go out there to get this stuff because he's in so much pain and he's in withdrawal. Tusi isn't a drug that's going to do that to you. First of all, it's not. It's not a painkiller. It's a stimulant. It's supposed to get you high and ready to go to the club. I don't think he was going out to get any Tusi. I do believe this is a ploy to try to get pain meds. And I did it. I bet you money Casper did it. If you're a junkie and you get in there, you start limping. And you start limping quick because there'll be somebody in there legitimately hurt. It ain't going to be you.
At CTAC, we used to plot on ways to get to the hospital. Remember, I told that story. My buddy who took the guy with the microphallus. He was like, anyway, we hit him over the head with a broomstick, right, to split his head open, and he didn't do it hard enough. So my buddy Sparky cut his head open, to get some because they were giving out Oxy 20s, and it was successful. But
you pulled it off. Because the funniest thing ever is,
it was successful.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Do that in county jail, and I said to him, the county jail where I was at isn't a Fed facility. It's a county jail for a town, right? And not
like
a
our
big
county
town,
here,
and not a big town. So the feds just pay to keep federal inmates there. They've stopped doing this, by the way. They will ship you to Pahrump now. If you have if it's a heavy duty case, they'll take you to Pahrump and they'll move you from the northern court to the southern court district so that they can keep you in a federal facility. Well, it creates a bunch of problems. But there was a kid in there who said, we were working together. He picks up this thing and he goes, what do these boxes weigh? I go, they're 60 pounds, man. And we got to move about 200 of them, right? And he went and dropped it on his foot. Right, this huge box. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "They're going to give me pain pills." I'm like, "They're going to give you Toradol, bro. When you come back,
Although, if you're truly in pain, Toradol is effective, man. I've gotten it from my back a few times.
It's a great painkiller, but it's not going to get you high, which is why
it's not going to get you high. Nope, not even close.
No, and you know something, folks. The other stupid conspiracies we have to kind of keep some of this stuff in check. It's fun to go down these
Kristen.
Holes. Yeah, it's fun to go down these rabbit holes, but we got to be really honest, man. Nobody wants to be Diddy for any amount of money. What it comes down to, people, is the crime. There are people who would love to go to jail as P. Diddy. There are, believe it or not, there are people on the planet that would be way happier to be P. Diddy inside than nobody outside, unless P. Diddy gets accused of the crimes he's being accused of. I mean, allegedly, this kid, this guy raped a kid, a boy and a girl that are all under the age that you're done. You're done. I can't even tell you how bad that's going to make enjoy the commissary ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And they will make you pay for it. I was with Casper and I was handcuffed behind my back, and this 300-pound dude fell down the stairs. They shouldn't have been taking us down the stairs handcuffed anyway, but he fell down the stairs. They were trying to take us to the shower, and he ran into me. I'm just walking, and he knocked me down, rode me like a sled all the way into the wall. I had a big thing on my head. And when I complained to medical, they went, "Yeah, you got $65 on your books. You can just go buy some ibuprofen." I was like, "I'm sorry, did I dive down the stairs? This isn't my fault. You idiots got me hurt, and I got to buy my own medication. That doesn't seem all that legit."
Yeah.
But Diddy is going to be alone for the rest of his life. His family will stop visiting and make him worse than bankrupt. The rumor is that his kids have already stopped going to see him. That rumor is gaining traction. They show up if it's a hearing of some sort, because there's going to be a whole bunch of cameras and stuff waiting out in front. But if there's nobody there to take the pictures of them going in to visit dad, they ain't going in to visit dad. And there's a shot, right? They're out there with his money. They don't even have to ask permission anymore. I would imagine they're happy he's gone. Hate to be.
It's got to be amazing.
It's got to be. Honestly, like the prison phone call that no one knows whether or not is real or not. It's the one that I brought over to the Atwood program. In that one, those voices sound real to me. And the more I understand AI, the more I realize that it would be a little bit more difficult to do that than just meets the eye. You can't just run to an AI and dump someone's voice in and then say, "Hey, crank me this out." You'd have to be a whole lot smarter than me anyway.
Yep.
You'd have to be somebody that at least had a background in this. It doesn't seem like it's all that simple.
Well, I have a little bit of a background, as you know, and with AI and doing just different things. Sound effect. I do a lot of stuff with judges and stuff. It doesn't sound completely real. The voice will sound like theirs, but their cadence and their diction is not completely.
We all have those little nuances that we do that make our voices unique, and the computers can't seem to pick that up.
No.
Hello, Jennifer Matthews. We're grateful to have you here. So, what do we got in the hopper? Have we got anything fun?
Well, I mean, we have a few things. I was looking for some body cam stuff that we could do today, but we'll just have to save that for later in the week. I do have some recovery news about Bam Margera, which is pretty good. He's doing good, man.
Shut up.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's back out on the skateboard. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the 50 and older club.
I love Bam. And before anybody gives me crap for that, I will stipulate that Bam's an ass. He just is, but he is his own worst enemy. And I was that dude. I mean, as stupid as everything you're looking at him doing, as dumb as it all appears, that's just a drug addict, man. He's just a guy that had enough money to really light that fire. And I was that idiot, man. I really was that idiot.
Yeah. So let's show a little bit of what I got. I got a thing with Wee Man, which is pretty dope, and then and Steve-O, and then I'll go into some skateboard stuff.
You know, Steve-O knows Johnny, knows my brother.
Oh, really?
I guess because they both like to hurt each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Sober.
Yeah, I did for 4 years.
4 years, and then you now you just rock.
No, I have, and during COVID, kind of did it again because it was like, all right, go skate and then barbecue and then drink, and we're in Shark Week the whole time. And I don't mean to bring him up, but Bam always was like when we were talking about Jackass 4. Right, they're like, you can't party, you can't do nothing.
Right? Why is Wee Man allowed?
Why is Wee Man allowed to go party and all that? And it was like,
because Wee Man's not showing up in jails and psych wards and rehabs.
Yeah,
and
you know, honestly, that's not such a bad point.
One time.
Yeah.
This is a disease among addicts, right? This is something that happens anytime someone gets sober. The first thing you want to do is crap on anybody that can actually handle it. Right? Hey, how come dude doesn't have to stop drinking? Dude doesn't have 9 DWIs. He doesn't have a drinking problem. He has a couple of beers. He puts them away. He doesn't go back for 3 weeks. Right? Bam is such a train wreck. He really is, and I love the guy. You know, I remember when Bam was king, dude. I remember when Bam was king. I loved watching him torture his uncle. But
yeah. Oh yeah, he was great. This is actually from his uncle's. Let me get this tab shared. This is actually from his uncle's YouTube, and this is Bam sober right now.
Damn.
Yeah. He's killing it right now.
Look at that old man.
Yeah.
Look at that old man. I love that.
He's got it.
I love that, man.
You know what's crazy? Look how happy he looks, man.
Wow.
Dude, he looks so happy, brother. Yeah.
Look at the spring in his step. Hey, do you remember Chris Asoyo, Christian, what was it?
Christian Hosoi.
Yeah,
Hosoi.
Do you remember that skater?
Of course.
Did you see him in the fence? He did fence.
No, I never ran into Christian. Yeah. I knew he was there. You know, I have a few Christian Hosoi boards. Well, I had back in the day. You know, I've since gotten to jail.
Did you have the ones that he customized the sides of?
Yep. I had that, and then it had the Japanese the kamikaze flag on the bottom. You know, or
that's the board.
Yeah.
He tweaked on that board. He said he tweaked on that. He sat down with a blade, methed out, been up for days, and started cutting out the side of the board. And that board sold more than anything. And then he continued to do that. Like he tried to make the next board that he had been cutting up and doing whatever. And they kept going to him going, dude, stop. Right? You nailed it on the first one, and nothing's going to ever equal that. And he got so spun out on ice that he showed up. They did a big reunion thing, and they had Bird was going to be there, Birdhouse. Everybody huge was there to celebrate him, and he no-showed. He flew over to another country to do it and ended up scoring dope and never got out of the hotel room. And he got blackballed and then started to do crime. And he got picked up and got sent to prison, ended up doing Fed time. I didn't run into him either, but I know that at one time he was in Hawaii where they had originally busted him, and he got shipped to a bunch of places. But he apparently is doing fantastic. He runs a sobriety house and is doing really well. So
yeah, that sounds about like him. Yeah, super incredible.
Out with the board in his hands. He was a savage, man. He really was.
I got a little bit more, you know, him and Johnny Knoxville kind of have a beef right now. Bam's called him out, like, you know, I'm going to F you up. And Howie Mandel interviewed him. I got just like a quick little short.
That's it.
Any conversation? Speaking of the old group, Bam, have you had any?
Oh, sorry, I didn't share it, did I?
No, put that up there. There you go. Where do you got it?
Yeah. Working out the kinks. You got it.
You got it.
Old group, Bam. Have you had any conversation?
I haven't talked to Bam probably since, unfortunately, we had to let him go from the movie, and I haven't talked to him since then. So,
because he's online spouting
yeah,
that he wants to. Did you see? Have you seen?
Knoxville, get into a ring with me. Take off your boxing gloves. 1, 2, 3. You're done for.
I can't control any of that. I
Or
can just
Bam,
control my side. I love Bam. I wish him well. I hope I understand. I think he's sober now for a little bit, and I hope that continues. And I hope he can.
Do you
know? I wish him nothing but the best.
He wants to fight you.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I personally I got issues with Johnny Knoxville and how all of
well, shit.
Do you agree or no?
What's that?
I have struggles. I have struggles with how Johnny Knoxville handled the whole situation with Bam Margera. The truth of the matter is they created Bam. You know, you bring a guy out and as Kirsten Melinda said earlier, this jackass kind of came out of skating falls, like the great skating falls people were playing on loops and whatever. So these guys went out and created better falls, right? With riding around in shopping carts and getting bulls to go in and get gored by a bull. Okay, you're going to end up on pain medication. Those guys spent so much time on pain meds. It was like being a skier, right? Every day you get injured. Every day they give you more pain meds. They created him and then when they made the last movie, here's your contract. Have you ever read the contract that they put in front of him? It's horrific.
No, I haven't.
Honestly, Casper, the shoe was a better setup than what they wanted that dude to do for filming. Like he was guarded around the clock. And I understand what they're trying to get at, but you destroyed this dude's life and then treated him like a leper. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you something right now. I'll say it with everybody watching too. All of those guys were taking crap loads of pain pills. Everybody knows it. The only one that I'm confident isn't taking it right now is Steve-O is sober as hell. I'm not necessarily buying that anyone else is, and I'm not mad at him. I don't think that necessarily they had a drug problem, but they continue to do the stuff he can't do. That's got to be hard on a set. Right. Those guys are still partying and they're like, well, Bam, you can't handle it. So we're going to party, but you can't. You would have to really be different. And I don't think that those guys were very supportive in the way that but
it becomes contractual, because they have to insure the movie. They have to insure everything. And he becomes a liability. I get that. But I agree with you. Then you get him into some treatment. And instead of keeping him isolated and locked down, like, you're saying like what happened, maybe get him a life coach that's with him 24/7.
Amen.
But
that's what happened to Steve-O.
To go everywhere. Yeah.
Steve-O was with a life coach for years. Everywhere you saw an interview with him, that dude was with him. And that was just his sobriety partner. My thing is this, if it was you and me, right? If it was you and me and it was Johnny and we were doing all of this stuff and they came back in the studio and said, well, here's what we're doing with the insurance. I'd go, no, we're not doing that. Right? That's not going to happen. This is my friend. We're not kicking him out of this or there won't be a film. The reson that there's a jackass has a lot to do with Bam. You know what I mean? And I feel like they did the guy dirty. I really do.
He was the shootout. He was. I mean, for real. Who else got their own show after Jackass? Nobody. Nope. And after his show promoted all the other jackasses, and none of the other jackasses were all that great. None of them measured up to the first one.
The first one was insane.
He for sure kept that legacy going with his show and everything he was doing. He became the star.
He really did. And you know what? There are just a lot of people out there that love the guy, and it's I want Bam to be successful. If you let me pick one person in Hollywood that I want to see make it, it's Bam Margera. Honest to God, that's who I want to come off the deck and be famous and loved again. Because when Bam is Bam, he's an awful lot of fun to watch. He's super engaging. Yeah. He was fun. Yeah. Everybody loved him, and not just the abuse. I think one of the sad things is that when you get famous doing anything, I'm going back on Sean Atwood to talk about Diddy, and we weren't going to talk about Diddy. Diddy is what we're talking about. There's no way not to talk about Diddy, right? If you're in this kind of, the problem becomes for these guys, their product was pain. And they kind of have to, that in the back of their head, as an entertainer, you're always going, well, if I really want to make it again, I'm gonna have to bust my ass and get filmed doing it. That's a horrific thing if you're 55. You know, I competed way too long skiing. And the last competition, I've told this story on the boat a couple of times, but the last time I skied was an April Fool's competition at Snowbird, Utah, the Red Bull Big Air Cup. And I think I took 17th or something like that. Like I wasn't in the running in any way, but I didn't fall, which was nice. I did a couple of backflips. The kid that won, I'm at the bottom and they're interviewing me. Not because I won, but because I'm so old. They interview me at every single one of it. They always come up and go, dude, how long are you going to do this? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I hear them, they're interviewing the kid that won. Like the big name person from ESPN 8, the Ocho, is interviewing the kid. And I hear him say, Timmy McKeever, is this the, and I said, what's his name? And the woman goes, Tim. They called him Tim McKeever. I went, and I started trying to sneak away real quick. And he went, Uncle Brett. He went, oh my God, dude. I was 18 years old. I was skiing with the Olympic team training in Killington, Vermont. And this kid was what we called the Groms. They're not a hopeful. You got to hit 8 and then you can become a hopeful, or anywhere between 8 and 12, they pick you as a hopeful. And then you start to train the team, whatever. But we had a group of guys that they called Groms or grommets. And Groms were people that weren't old enough to get into that yet, but were so talented. So this kid at 3 was skiing with us. And I'm looking at this kid going, if he's winning, I need to quit. I need to back off, right? This is the end. And the woman said to me right afterwards, she's like, how long are you going to keep doing that? I'm like, if that's Timmy McKeever, right? Timmy McKeever, I'm done. I'm like, I won't do this anymore. I won't do this. And the worst part is this. He won with he did 3 360s basically, right? But he took off backwards and landed backwards. And I mean, he's covering a football field. He's flying out 300 feet. You know what I mean? And while he's doing this, he's spinning, and then he lands backwards. I just said, I'm going to take these things home. I'm going to put them on the wall, right? Maybe screw them into the wall. I'll put a nice picture of me doing a backflip behind it. but the abuse on the body, like I lived with that. We weren't trying to highlight our injuries. You know, that was never a thing. We wanted those films to be hidden. To land a backflip, you got to miss 500, right? Before you land the first one, you screw up a lot. And you know, we were all on dope at all times, but I never saw that team give up on anybody. And there were some people out there that got out there. I mean, there were people, you know, you probably remember a skier named Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson won a gold medal in downhill in Sarajevo. He got caught stealing an automobile, right? He was wasted on pain meds and trying to come up with, he stole an automobile. And when they went into court, the coach went in and said to the judge, you can't send this guy to prison. He's a gold medalist. You just don't understand. And they released him to his coach. I feel like that's what should have happened to Bam. I feel like these people should have gone in there and said, we're going to take him. He's going to stay with us, and we're going to work on this until he's right. You're all millionaires in large part because of the team. You can't throw one of them out. I'm disgusted with it.
Nope. Yeah. And a lot of people won't watch because of that. So, you know, they're destroying their own brand by doing that. And even sacrifice for your buddy. Don't go out drinking every night or go out partying or, you know, whatever, you know, shenanigans they were getting up to.
Yeah. The problem is that when people begin to make money, you look at them as a product. You know, when I was a public speaker, I was the Bam Margera of public speakers. I mean, my boss used to say to me all the time, he'd go, you're Elvis, bro. And I'd go, thanks. And he'd go, no, I don't mean you're great. I mean, if I don't get enough dope, you're probably not going to make the show. Like
that's right.
You had to keep me, you know, pretty well hopped up, because if I was dope sick, I wasn't going on stage. And that happened twice in 1 year where I just said, I can't do what I'm saying. And instead of saying, let's get Rocco to rehab, right? We got issues. He said, all right, we need somebody to travel with this dude and carry his dope. Yeah. Like that was their response was, we're going to get a road crew guy. He's going to carry all the dope and he's going to issue out just enough to him every day. And how long do you think that lasted? I had that dude in the closet going, give me the rest of it, dude. The hell do you mean you're giving me a grand? I'll take you off the planet. Yeah, it was all bad. But I digress. So Little Mink says, love all the graphics. Did Casper doodle them?
Yes, I did. Yeah. It's kind of what I do. I get references and, I doodle. I use a program called Procreate, not to get into the weeds about it all, but Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love doing it. I've been doing it for years, and now I finally have another outlet to kind of show off a little bit.
You know how much fun it is to hit that button and see what, like last night, man, if you guys knew how hard it is to do a show after you watch the lifeboat emblem explode for the first time, like I just wanted to go, hold on, everybody. I'm going to watch that like 8 more times and then we'll get back and we'll start this show. That was the first time I saw it. And the way he set it up too, when I went to go live, it said, you want to go live with your program? And I was like, okay. Right. And then the screen blows up and does. Yeah, it's a lot of fun working with someone with talent. It's not happening.
Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that. And I got something in the hopper for Night Yard too, an intro kind of like the morning show.
Can't wait.
So
man. Can't wait.
Yeah.
He's gonna be churching up the lifeboat too, which is and that I will be. I'm gonna have to reward you for that, for real. I got some ideas.
Right.
That is really sad that people get used that way. That's why they had Amy Winehouse out there performing totally messed up. Amy Winehouse.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking you. Amy Winehouse. And I get this question asked routinely. What was the overdose that hurt the most? As an addict to watch. I used to say Chris Farley. That was the one that I said all the time because everybody knew Farley was out of control. They made jokes about him being Belushi before he became Belushi and died. So that was horrible. But nothing was worse than Amy Winehouse. There was not anybody on earth that went, what? Everybody went, oh yeah, saw that coming, and nobody did anything. It's, we're seeing this with the Diddy explosion, and we're seeing this. This is what 2025 is about. It's about a human being a product and nobody giving a crap about that. And if that means that person urinates on 13-year-old girls in closets and films it, well, he's selling a lot of records. So let's hide that for as long as we can. And, they hid R. Kelly. R. Kelly was a corporate sponsored pedo. I mean, I don't know how else to look at it. He was a corporate sponsored pedo, and he was the first of it. And by the way, that's a Jaguar Wright. I stole that. Jaguar Wright was the first person I heard say that, but he was a corporate sponsored pedo. And the next one was Diddy and maybe Voldemort. We'll find out.
I have a to the Amy Winehouse stuff. She, I never got hip to her until way after she was already emaciated and just really just trash. Never heard of her. But I had a girlfriend at the time in California in Long Beach who was a super fan, and she showed me pictures of her when she first became famous. She was like an Egyptian princess.
She was round. She still had body size. She had a little meat on her. She was she was a person who looked a lot better with a little bit of chub. And there's a lot of women like that. They don't believe that, but they look way better. When she was thick, she was incredibly beautiful. It was sad to watch. It was sad to watch. I didn't get hip to her in the beginning either. When I heard the song on the radio, I Don't Want to Go to Rehab. That was the first time I had ever heard her, and I was such a dope fiend that I was like, oh, that's the motto. Like that's the love that. And that was as stupid as it is. That was my first exposure to her, and I never saw pictures of her looking healthy until after she was gone. But if you go back and like if you do an image search on her, the difference is just so stark. It really is. It's so dramatic. But she was great. God, she was talented.
Yeah, she was.
I would imagine Little Mink, it was way worse to be watching it in the country that she was in. That had to be tough.
I'm trying to find a video right now. So if
while you're searching, I'm gonna
just something that Cat Williams said, and you just said something that reminded me of it that I wanted to show. He said it to Theo Vaughn, and I have it recorded.
You can get from Cat. If you can play Cat Williams, we're happy. So in my opinion, some record companies got a big payout on Amy Winehouse. So here's the theory on this one, right? Because this is a very big conspiracy theory, and it goes far beyond Amy Winehouse. Among gangsters, horse racing is a very big deal. And it's a very big deal because you can fix it. You can fix a horse race, right? There's a human being on the horse's back. Dog races, those are as pure as you're going to get. Those dogs don't know that somebody put an extra large bet on some other dog. But with people on horses, there's a problem. Now, if you have a thoroughbred and you paid $6 million for this horse and the horse doesn't run well, then you paid $6 million for a horse that doesn't run well. If that horse dies, you get a $6 million payout. that you insured your thoroughbred for. And sadly, they kill the animals. And this is happening allegedly in the music industry. There are entertainers who are worth more dead than alive. And the big example that people like to give, in theory, right? This is a theory, would be that when we saw Whitney Houston, Whitney had just signed a contract for like $100 million or something for a series of albums. Whitney had been smoking crack every day for a really long time, and I'm not picking on her, but her voice was gone. Whitney couldn't sing. Go back and listen to some of the stuff, even with auto-tune. Whitney was in bad shape at the end. But you get a contract for $100 million that you just signed, you're going to immediately insure that. Because if something happens to her, you're not going to be out the $100 million. There's this hustle that they do where all of a sudden a musician is worth a lot more dead than alive. Think of how much money has been generated by Biggie since he died, or how much money has been generated by Tupac since he died. I mean, there are people downloading Tupac stuff every minute of every day. It's ugly. It really is.
I found that clip. This is Theo Vaughn asking, and let me know real fast if you can't hear the audio, because I didn't see the share the audio with this clip, but here we go.
Yeah, we're not hearing it. There we go. You had it. It just came on a little late.
Oh, it did? The audio?
Yeah, I think I was hearing it, but
what do you see happening in 2025?
Little volume.
Little volume, and then
we'll be able to hear it because we can hear him. It's just low.
Really? Damn it. Oh, it's probably coming through my microphone. Let me just reshare it real quick.
Yeah, take your time.
Yep.
Galen says, I'm a veterinarian, so I can tell you some stories about some horses and also about some show dogs. That's so sad. You know, I am a animal lover. And for that reason, I always struggled with racing of any kind. But when I lived in Texas, there's a place in Texas, Lamarck, Texas, where they built the dog track, and the building is glass. Everywhere where the kennels are is glass. They hired people from the ASPCA and said, if we were to design a dog track that would make you happy, what would it be? I'm not being funny. This is how they did it. And they said you would never be able to be alone with a dog that could be abused. So the kennels, everything are all these big glass, and people walk around and watch it. I'm sure it still takes place, but they have never put a dog down there. They adopt out the programs, and greyhounds are amazing to watch. Go ahead. Sorry.
I got it.
All right,
yeah.
Spirit.
Okay, here we go. Wah, wah, wah. We just rewind
Easy
it.
for thinking that.
Right.
Here we go. You guys can hear it?
What do you see happening in 2025, Kat? This is where we get to where, like, what do you feel like? What do you feel like are things we can look forward to, things we can stay conscious
I love what he
of?
says here.
Can I bum another cigarette by chance, man? You got enough?
Not that part.
Yeah.
Come catch a square, man.
Just get my lungs up.
We're already in 2025, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You right already.
yeah.
I like
See?
Theo.
So the whole thing is we're not this thing does not happen in yearly cycles. Like it's not a every 12 months thing. It's not how it works. So the age of truth is not 1 year. It's the beginning of people having more of a thirst for what is true than an appetite for lies.
Awesome, man.
So if you sell lies, it's a harder road for you. If you have truth to tell, people are hungry for that, and they'll pay you handsomely to hear the truth. Wasn't always that way. It's that way right now in real time. Whatever that means to you, that's the battle that's going on. Is people who profit from the manipulation of others by getting you to believe something that's not the case. And that's how they make their living. And it is now a difficult time for those entities.
Man.
That's amazing. I don't want to play too much because there's we have to react and things like that. So
You got to break that up for the use. But here's the thing with Cat. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that Cat Williams at the beginning of 2024 made those predictions out his hat? Or do you think that he made those predictions because the Federal Bureau had already reached out to ask him some questions, or he knew someone that was working? He either was working with him or someone was. That's my theory. Do you agree with me?
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
And he kind of alluded that a little bit, didn't he, on the Shay show?
He certainly left it open to interpretation that perhaps he had been. He didn't shut that down at all. And I think that he's knowing. And I think that being in the midst of it, I do believe what Cat Williams says, you know, and I believe there are other Cat Williamses out there. There are a lot of Kevin Harts. There are a lot of people that if they say, you're going to put a dress on and you're going to book a whammer, but we're going to get you a $50 million contract. He goes, okay, you got knee pads, or am I doing this? How am I doing this? I'm good. Let's do this. You know, hey, Jamie Foxx, right? I'm a wreck your world. That's the dude that spent a lot of time in a dress. Now, if you're not familiar with that, you're familiar with that, right? The theory that the rich white folk force black entertainers into a dress if they want to sort of climb the ladders. And it's ritualistically humiliating these people to say, you ain't the man. It's you know, and that's the theory. I believe it. I do
too.
It doesn't make sense. There are so many skits that you see where they got a black dude dressed as a chick, and it doesn't make any sense to the story. It's like, why are we doing this? Kevin Hart dressed as the Pope. You know the one I'm talking about? Kevin Hart on Saturday Night Live went live to be a female Pope. It doesn't even make sense. It's a terrible skit. It's not funny. It was like he went out and did the interview where he goes, yeah, I'm not putting on a dress. I don't know what you're talking about, but no, nobody ever asked me to put on a dress. And if they did, I ain't going to do it. And those people went, get him in a dress. Tell him he's putting on a dress. Get him in a dress.
We got one.
I mean,
we got one.
That's how it went down. Cause that story looked like they said to 5 people, we need to put that black dude in a dress, come up with a script where he's in a dress. It wasn't like they had this funny thought and, we need a black guy in a dress for it. It looked created. It looked stupid.
Yeah. Do you remember Jamie Foxx's skit on In Living Color, Wanda?
Yeah. I wreck your world.
Yeah. I wreck your world. Yeah. Or was her name Wanda? Something like that. But yeah, man, it was funny. It was funny. But if you look at it through those other goggles, it's,
And he's Jamie Foxx is advertising right now for MGM Grand. MGM Grand has come out with their own sports book that you can gamble from, even if you're not in Vegas, right? That's a new thing. And Jamie Foxx is their lead advertiser for this. And he puts on a dress, and he puts on a dress in the ad.
Shut up.
Very first thing you see on that ad, he says, all sports books get you certain things. You can expect certain things from all sports books, like the yay or the hooray or whatever. And there he is in a dress. Medea, a lot of Medea stuff too.
Medea, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Medea from what's his name?
Right, his studio. All that dude does is live in a dress. That dude doesn't make a movie as a man.
Yeah. So check this out. So Theo was also talking to Kat. I guess Kat bought an old army base in just outside of Atlanta or Lafayette or somewhere. And Kat is creating his own Tyler Perry environment where people, but the way he's doing it is where Kat's not the producer of everything. He's giving people specifically comedy because he thinks Hollywood is trying, with all the superhero stuff, is trying to destroy comedy. He's giving people a place to where they can take their low budget and make it look like a high budget.
I love that.
With sound stages, lots of acreage to build little towns and whatever they need to do. And it's going to be, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing.
It's such a lesson, in my opinion, to everybody that's ever had a drug problem. I'm not kidding. If you know Kat, right? Kat has been accused. I'm not saying Kat's got a drug problem, but Kat's had a lot of things happen in his life that made the world talk about him having a drug problem. And the more you look back on it, you look at Hollywood and think maybe they're just doing this because the guy didn't want to take an egg up his backside, right? He didn't want to play the game. But what's happening instead is, no joke, the press in the United States have about a 7% approval rate. I mean, 7 out of 100 people think that they're telling the truth. Do you realize if you ask the same people that question about Cat Williams, you get about 90% that would tell you that they believe Cat knows more about what's going on in the world right now than anyone else? You can absolutely get off of the deck and be believed if you just keep pumping the same story and don't lie, don't create, just keep telling the truth. And eventually, Cat's been talking about this for years, man. That Club Shay Shay interview, what made that unique is just the fact that he managed to drop that in the year of the arrest. But he's been talking for a long time about how bad Hollywood is, man.
Yeah, yeah.
This is not new. This is not new to him at all.
Yeah. So I found a and I was listening, but I found Jamie Foxx's thing. So we're gonna watch.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it real quick.
See what it's like having a producer. Holy crap! How cool is that, man? I have dreams like this.
Did you? Well, me too, brother.
Not even kidding. I had dreams like
Hold
that.
on.
Where I would say, "Hey, can somebody pull up that clip from? Was I right? Is it MGM?"
Yeah, it's MGM. Yeah.
At BetMGM, everyone gets a welcome offer. So whether you're courtside trying to hit the over or up here trying to hit the under, or hitting that win with your crew. Oh, yeah, the defense. All the way up here with a same game parlay. Yeah. BetMGM's got your back. Get your welcome offer and play with the sportsbook born in Vegas. All these seats. Really?
Get up to a $1,500.
I've never seen that.
Is he addressing that or no?
No, I've never seen that one. So look for the second one. The second, there's got to be at least two because I've never seen that ad. In the one that I saw, it says you can expect certain things from sports books, and the first thing that they say is like the excitement, and they show a Jamie Foxx with a blonde wig on.
Okay, I'll find it.
Standing as a woman, but it's.
Oh, there's a bunch. There's a bunch.
Yeah, I was going to say most of the time, if you get hired for a national campaign, there's going to be 20 or 30 spots that they're going to run because they want.
Yeah,
we click through if we haven't seen it before, but they're paying him. I mean, you got any idea what it's going to cost MGM to have him as the spokesperson for that? There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that say Jamie Foxx is a sellout. Now we know a couple of things. We know he was playing naked basketball, right? We know that he alleges that he got poisoned by P. Diddy. This is a guy that put on a dress. It gets really hard when you think of the things that Cat Williams has said to discount these things, right? Chappelle never put on a dress, but he had to run his ass to Africa, right? He went and hid in Africa after turning down a $50 million contract. It seems odd that number keeps coming back up. 50 million seems to be the going rate for somebody's. How did Cat Williams say it? To protect his integrity and that virgin hole he was talking about.
Yep. Because that's what Dave Chappelle was offered. And
does anyone remember the movie White Chicks? Two black guys dressed up the entire movie as women. Yes, I remember. It was the Wayans that was made by the Wayans brothers. Marlon, I don't think it's the younger ones. Marlon was in it. I can't remember who else, but they do the entire film in whiteface, which by the way,
it was Marlon and the other brother, the younger, not Damon, not Kim,
the young ones. And I have not watched the entire film. I'll be really honest with you. The first time I saw that come out, the first thing I thought when they started to play it was if you can put on whiteface, right? That's not racist, but if you put on blackface, it is. I'm sorry. 30 seconds into watching that, I was like, this doesn't smell right to me. But I've said this too. If you go in my high school yearbook and you go through, we had something called Air Band, which was like a lip sync competition. So guys would dress up as AC/DC and go out and they would do 3 songs, and you had a competition to see who mimicked the band the best. And in my town, this was the biggest thing. Like, 2,000 people showed up for this. Like, it was a big deal, and it was a night of rock concert. Yeah, very cool. You guys got really, really into it. But teachers, my senior year, teachers were allowed to, if you wanted a teacher to come in and play. So a friend of mine brought in Mr. Pisani, and I'll say his name because he's dead. But Mr. Pisani, nice Italian guy, good friend of the family. We knew him really well, knew his kids. But he played Little Richard, and he did it in blackface. And that picture is in my yearbook. Right? 1988. I mean, I'm glad it's not me because someone would have already made there'd already be a thumbnail.
Dude.
Somebody's video.
The trolls would have gobbled that up.
Yeah, they'd be loving that. But to make no mistake, that was not something that people freaked out about until recently, you know, and I'm not saying that that's right. They should have been freaking out the whole time. It's bad form, but if it's bad form for the goose, it's bad form for the gander. You know?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But remember Ted Danson, and it's been probably 20 years when he did blackface with Whoopi Goldberg
for her birthday.
For her birthday, there was kind of an uproar about that, you know, and Whoopi stuck up for him.
Yeah, well, they were banging at the time, right? They were boyfriend and girlfriend when that went down, and she laughed through the whole thing. She thought it was funnier than hell. But you know, things change, you know, and I think that you could probably do an entire show on that. You know, that it's funny because all of a sudden something changes, and if you're not up for it, right? Going back all the way, we had the former the guy that was running Canada. Don't we have some pictures of him in blackface?
Oh yeah, I think
pretty
so.
Sure we do. Yeah, pretty sure we do. We got some pictures of him in blackface from college, and it's become a thing. You certainly don't want to do it now. So what's the point of making them wear a dress? Just humiliation? I'll let Casper take a shot at this, but in my opinion, it's not just humiliation. It's ritual humiliation. It's proof.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's to kind of show them like you are the woman and I am the man. You know, like a.
You're my bitch. I'm sorry. There's no other way to.
Yeah, you're honestly, a bitch. Yeah, not woman and man, but because women and man are equal. But more like you're my bitch. You know, you're in a dress. I'm not. I pay you to do my bidding. You know,
that's it. You do what I tell you to do, which means you're going to get in a dress, or you're going to hop across the court like a bunny dressed up as a tennis player, because we've seen that one from Meek. Now, honestly, that looked to me like a bet. Like Casper and I would have a bet inside, and he'd be like, "All right, you owe me 25 on calls." So I'd like walk into the chow hall and go, "Hey, what's up?" And Casper would be like, "Hey, why don't you give me 10?" And you got to drop down to your face in front of all the fellas, right, and push out 10 push-ups wherever you're at.
Maybe there are those. Maybe even say Big Daddy Casper. Yeah.
Donkey kicking. Big Daddy Casper.
Yeah, donkey kicking. Big Daddy Casper.
Anything Big Daddy Casper. To embarrass guys is a big thing in prison. But I think that's what we're looking at is ritual humiliation, to the point of they want these people to know their property. I'm not kidding. This is modern slavery to an extent. Yeah, we'll make you rich as hell, but you are my bitch. That's it. If I tell you to do
and that's
this,
what Kat was saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what Kat was saying. Kat has done it his way. One of the reasons that I absolutely love Cat Williams is because he did not. Yes, I promise you, Little Mink, that's the truth. Cat didn't play the game. He didn't. Have you ever heard him talk about how much money he made for doing like Fridays? He got $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000. Yep.
$5,000. You got any idea how much money they've made on that film? You got $5,000.
Yeah.
So what was the budget for all the actors? What do you think they paid? 50, 100K for all of them? God help us, man.
What do I think about Anthony? Maybe on the second one, they probably got even less on the first one. You know, because Friday wasn't a franchise; it was just really an independent movie by Ice Cube. You know, something that he scribbled in one of his little notebooks that he carries around, which is amazing if you think about it. If you truly think about it, but you know, I don't know what they got paid in the third or fourth one, but almost nothing.
Debo, when I got in trouble in Phoenix, and I had to go. I mean, in Tucson, and I had to go from the
driving the prison van. Yeah,
Debo was driving the prison van. I'm telling you, dude, that was the highlight of that whole thing, because I got screwed over so bad in that hole, going to the shoe. All that was I told you the story, I think. I passed the piss test, and I'm telling you all, I'll tell you, I'll tell you anything. I passed a piss test. They come down and they piss test me. I go back to my unit, and I'm doing whatever I was doing. There wasn't even dope on the yard, right? There wasn't. So they pull me in, and they're like, "Hey, you need to take a drug test." I'm like, "I just took a drug test. I took a drug test like 30 seconds ago." And they're like, "Well, there's another one." So I go down, I pee again. The dude pulls the strip off. You know how it works. He pulls the strip off. He goes, "You're good," and he throws my my thing in the trash. Then 2 weeks later, I get called in, and they said, "You failed your drug test." I went, "I'm sorry, what?" I said, "If I failed the drug test, I would have gotten a write-up the day I went down there and took a piss. And then I would wait for this part of the procedure. I've had this 100 times." They said, "No, we sent it off to be tested." I said, "It was in the trash." I didn't put my sticker on the top of it and sign it like you're supposed to.
Which is why they make you do that.
Yeah, which is chain of custody. Now, here's the crazy thing. I won my appeal, but I was 2 prisons away when I won my. I'd already been shipped from where I wanted to be. You know, they admitted that they screwed me over, but by then I am 2 custody levels up. Right now I'm at a max. Thanks. Good looking out. But so I'm having a bad day and I get in the van shackled. First of all, why am I getting in the van? Like, I figured I'm going to the hole. I'm like, where are we going? He's like, we don't have a shoe here, so we're transegging you to Uncle Sneaky Camp. Oh, I want that on my jacket, right? They're taking you across the street to the to the USP. And I get in the van and Debo's driving. And I went, dude, you look like, he goes, Debo. And I go, big time. He goes, I am Debo. I was like, wow, your day's worse than mine. And then I had to hear from all the people. He was terrible to do time with. They said the guy was so lazy he wouldn't go to the bathroom, so he was peeing in bottles, putting tops on him and keeping him by his bed. Like, the guy wouldn't even get up and walk the 30 feet to go to the bathroom. They were in a dorm. And he
that's some Howard Hughes shit.
On a lot of people too. Apparently he was big on telling. Yeah. Guys kept hitting the shoe and they'd be like, what happened? Why are you in here? Debo, that rat bastard. They're all yelling back and forth to each other. They told him I had a phone. Yeah. What do you think about Anthony Kiedis, Red Hot Chili Peppers? I saw a documentary. Allegedly, since he was 12, he grew up with his dad, who shared with him chemicals, and his girlfriend for the first experience at age 12. Boy, what a dad.
I read his book, probably twice, maybe 3 times. I read one of either Dirt or Anthony Kiedis a few times, because it's, that's my hometown. It's where it's where I'm from, and it's one of those things. Oh, that's a little too big. It's just of Anthony Kiedis. Yeah. I was a super fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers, mostly just because I felt that kinship with them from being from my neighborhood, Fairfax, Hollywood Boulevard, that whole area where I kind of ran around as a teenager. As he got older, I don't know. I hadn't seen too much about him. I know he's on some weird stuff, but the time where I really liked him was when he was with Ione Sky. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
When him and Ione Sky were together, that's when I was a huge fan of him. But for real, I don't know what's
such a part of my youth. Right? She was a part of, if you're of our age, Ione Sky is just a big deal.
River's Edge. Do you remember that movie?
River's Edge. Heavy film. Yeah. Speaking of the guy you brought up last night, that played McFly. He was in that.
Crispin Glover, yeah.
Yeah, Glover. Glover was fantastic in that. You want to hear something horrible? I lived in Houston, Texas when that film came out. And they had just passed the law to make ecstasy illegal. But you could still get it everywhere. Like, you could still buy it in General Nutrition Center. They had 365 days, to continue to sell before they had to stop. So this person says to me, you got to see this film. You're going to love it. I was on 4 Disco Biscuits. It was supposed to be a Friday night of club, and I ate 4 Disco Biscuits. I was just starting to roll. My eyes were doing this one. And he's like, oh, we're not going out. I got this great film you need to see. It's a great film. Probably not to see on 4 hits of X. Wasn't the greatest decision. That movie disturbed the crap out of me.
A lot of actors got big from that movie, though, and it's I bet you not many people in our audience have even heard of the movie, or maybe they've heard of it.
It's a strange film. It's a strange
or haven't
film.
Seen
it. Didn't get a lot of. It didn't get a lot of.
Keanu Reeves is in it.
Keanu Reeves is in it.
Is it Keanu or Judd Nelson?
No, it's Keanu Reeves.
Okay, Keanu's in it.
Absolutely.
The guy,
the old man.
John Tollard, who they call him John because of Tollard toilet.
Yep.
He's been in a ton of movies since that movie. And then of course the rest of the cast. But yeah, that's
the guy from Easy Rider. The hell's his name?
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper plays one of the best roles. Dennis Hopper. It's not a huge role, but he is so good in that. He plays a freak, and he plays such an incredible character in that. And we watched the movie last night. It was good and disturbing. Lori E took your recommendation and watched your film last night.
Oh, At Close Range. Yeah, great movie, true story, 100% true. Also, yeah.
So Kanye's other half is definitely being humiliated. The dress at the Grammys. What the actual hello? So here's the thing. I didn't watch the Grammys, and I'm gonna wait for some of the. But if you can pick up, if you can get a picture of her dress, that might be fun for everybody to look at. Kanye West.
Whose dress? Well, you can't. They blurred it all out. They blurred out the dress.
Oh, is it so foul that she couldn't wear it, or what?
I mean, she has no dress. It's a skin suit, so they do blur it out. But I'll get a quick shot of it.
Wow, how about
that? What I was tripping on is what the girl who took, her name's Lochi, I think. She took best new rap artist. Her dress was pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, everyone is saying that that Ye's woman is, for all intents and purposes, naked. Now, they were not invited. I don't know if you know this, but they were not supposed to be there. Like Kanye West, who was nominated, right, for a Grammy, was not supposed to be at the Grammys. I don't know what that tells you about it. Katrina says, didn't they get kicked off because of it? Yeah.
It says they just came on and then just got in the car. Yeah. The Grammy, of course, the Academy is saying, no, we didn't kick them out, but that might just be them,
Right. Here's the thing. I wonder if it was her idea or Kanye's. Here's something that I'm going to throw out there, and this is my opinion. No one has to agree with me on this one. But I don't think that, especially in this genre of artists, I don't think that any of these women are going there without a guy telling them what they're going to put on. As bad as that is, I think that that's probably, there is a culture where women within hip hop are treated differently than they would be treated in easy listening. And I don't care whether you like that or not. It's the truth. It's pervasive that women are treated poorly.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's Kanye West. He tries to look hard the whole time. They're like, what the hell is he doing here?
Well, do you hear how quiet it is? That's because, I mean, the red carpet is normally way louder than that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She almost looks
miserable.
She looks kind of miserable, right?
She doesn't look happy to me, man. She does not look happy to me. Rona Cooley.
I don't know if you wanted me to keep that going, but yeah, she looks.
I think that probably, if you want to bring it back, there's a point at which, right where she turns around, watch the interaction between Ye and her as she is before she disrobes completely. She turns around, still wearing that lovely black coat. That's a beautiful coat, by the way. But she turns around. The exchange between the two of them, where he's basically telling her to take it off, looks very uncomfortable to me.
Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, a little bit further back than that. It's like she's waiting for his approval.
Yeah. Yeah, but
by the way,
she kind of keep watching her face. Look, she does not look happy there.
No, she does not look happy.
See the way she dropped her hand, just like, ugh.
I mean, how humiliating to do to somebody. I'm sorry. Little Mink says you can only see the stitching at the very bottom. This is, to me, so you can see a little bit of the skin. It's literally just a see-through.
She tries to even like pull it down, like
right.
I don't know. It's
You know what? There it is. I swear to you, I'm sitting there the whole time and I'm groping. That's exactly what the thought I was groping for was. He looks like a pimp. It does. He looks like he's pimping her out. That's horrible, man.
Yep.
That's horrible. And
in this
day, James Collins cares.
I love that dude, man. That's my dude right there. In this wait, not atmosphere, in this,
yeah, that's the right way to put it.
Yeah, and like where the world's at right now to come and do that.
Yeah, you nailed it.
No effing sense, man.
Yeah, in this environment, like you talk about being tone
environment.
deaf.
The milieu,
You need to get the photo up. See if you can pick up just a photo of it. Apparently, there's one on X that they say is you might want to. It looked like a horse auction. There you go. Not enough. That's another. Again, that's kind of the same feel as the pimp, right? This is my possession. This is my property. Check it out. What do you think? Now turn around. No, face this way. Oh, God, help us, man. You know, I knew, I talked about this in yesterday's show, but I knew when he began to tweet again, or X again. I don't know what you call him. You call him, put it up an X. He began to tweet again on the day of the Grammys after not doing any kind of action on X for a really long time. I had to know something was coming up. We kind of assumed he would crash the Grammys. I didn't think
he did that. Yeah, he just got back on X. That's right.
Yesterday, for the first time in forever, Ye put some stuff out on Twitter. And a lot of it was just pretty typical Kanye rantings. Like he opens with a shalom, which is of course his way of taking a shot at the he's anti-Semitic. He's struggled with that for a hot minute. But he also tore up the former vice president, said a lot of nasty stuff about Kamala, and then immediately tweeted an apology to Kamala. He comes off as very, very unhinged.
Yeah. Well, I can't really. I mean, do we want one that's not blurred out? Is that what we're looking for?
I would just like to, if we could get a better idea. I'm not trying to see the girl's nipples. I just, the way that they did that, it doesn't give you much of an idea. If we could get a picture of her from the back. So it's just a sheer material, right? There's nothing, if you saw it.
That's all it is. Okay. I mean, they use them in Hollywood, for movies all the time, like when they simulate S scenes, Yeah. It's just one of those suits. I can't log into my X account right now.
It's probably not that, we're not going to see much.
Yeah. And when we get a chance, I do want to talk about, and not right this second, it's about, did you ever see when Jimmy Kimmel confronted Diddy about wanting to fight Will Smith? Have you ever seen that?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if people haven't, that's worthy of looking at. You could see her tell him no, shaking her head no prior to her turning. Very disgusting. It's you brought your girlfriend to the biggest, I don't know what you want to call it, the biggest stage in the world, right? There's no place that you could have taken her on the night of the Grammys where more people are going to see her, and you took her there naked. I don't think that was her idea. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, so he does have an album coming out. He's making some new music. His first tweet back said, Trump's back in the White House. Ye is a billionaire, maybe a billionaire again. Maybe I can, maybe I can survive this world or live in this world or something along those lines. There was a lot of politics in there, a lot of disjointed craziness in there. Because I'm sorry, Ye, and I want to like Ye more than anything. I really do. Because I feel like he's a victim of the industry, and I feel like he's a victim of the evilest women on planet Earth. Because the Kardashian family, those women have, cloven hooves that they got to put into those pumps. They are absolutely satanic. They really
and I think the only reason why we can't really I believe that wholeheartedly, but his ego would never admit that or even let anyone allude to that. So, but I think it's totally obvious,
Yeah. Do you know the history of that family completely? Have you ever heard about the sex tape? This to me is amazing. But the mother was there when that was filmed. There was nothing spontaneous about that. That wasn't two people
during the filming.
Yeah. This was not two people that had a relationship, that loved each other, or even just wanted to get it on, and they decided to film it and it leaked. They set up.
We're talking about
cameras.
RJ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray. Yeah. They picked
Ray.
him.
Yeah, Ray.
They picked him. Ray had to sign a contract before he did it. And allegedly the contract was drawn up between Chris and Diddy. They came up with the contract, but that sex tape was not leaked. This was a plan by the family.
Yeah, I didn't think it was leaked. Yeah.
Yeah. And allegedly she sat in the kitchen. This is Chris, sat in the kitchen the day of the leak with her daughter, looking at all 3 porns, films to see which one had the best camera angle for the daughter. They were choosing together which one they were going to release.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
So they decided on the one with just her face. Well, if you think about it, because that's most of it, that sounds like a mother who would, not sounds like a mother, like no mother would do that.
Right.
But Chris,
yes.
I'm not going to just have a close up of anything that's super graphic, but we are going to see her getting, rammed.
Right. It's just disturbing. Lisa Pritchard says, because that's normal. Yeah. I mean, do you know what's funny? I remember telling, I was telling Johnny Scoville about this. I was putting something together on the Kardashians and I was telling Johnny this. And my mother was there. And my mother goes, well, that family does everything together.
Like, she's like, why don't we do more?
God, they're really a tight family. They pick out, yes, you're absolutely right. Do you want to hear something else? And this is, it has been alleged that before they chose who would be the partner, they had firms they hired to find out whether or not it would be better if the sex tape was with a white man or a black man, whether or not it would be better if maybe the sex tape had a woman in it instead of a man. Like, they researched this thing, and then it's this, they come out and go, what kind of person would leak something like this? Who would hack into something and then just, randomly and arbitrarily hand this out to the world? Good God, man. Like, we got, and they are $1 billion enterprise, right? This family is worth billions of dollars because you pimped your daughter. I don't care how else you want.
Crazy, man. That's the deal with the devil. There's no other, what could be more of a deal with the devil than that?
Oh, that's it.
Or selling your soul for fame, or.
Well, did you notice that everybody in the family fell in love with someone black? And I don't care. You fall in love with whoever you want to fall in love with, but that's not why they fell in love with somebody black. They fell in love with somebody black because from a marketing standpoint, they realized it was going to be what was best for their business. Those people are, contract signed. Absolutely. They signed a contract before, and allegedly the contract was written up.
Oh, RJ had receipts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it. It's the real deal. It's the real deal.
Oh, I believe you. Yeah. Because I know you wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Yeah.
That's the trouble with a contract. Kind of hard to rip it up and get rid of it. You know what? Thank you, Great Britain. Tana Louise nails it, right? Money does not buy class. I don't care how much of it you got. You can't buy class. Now, to take that class just a little worse, how do you hide that much money? Right? Because you have to. How do you? Yeah. Allegedly, a lot of the money that has been ripped off from Britney Spears ended up with the Kardashians. I know that that's crazy, and it sounds like I'm a nut job, but go down that rabbit hole. The co-founder in the church that Kris Jenner is the co-founder of a church. Ding, 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 ding. You know that they have to pay a monthly stipend to go to that church. I've never seen a church like that has a membership, not a tithe. You got to pay a monthly membership. Wow, man.
Yeah, like forced tithing. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Speaking of the UK, I do have a cool little UK story. It's not probably nothing you've heard of, but maybe our viewers from the UK. There was a fraud suspect who was taking the citizenship test for people in the UK to become a UK citizen, and let me see if I can. And got busted. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'll read it. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So fraud suspect 61 used wigs and disguises to take citizenship tests for others, the Home Office says. So basically, a woman in her 60s has been arrested for allegedly using an array of wigs and other disguises to pose as at least 14 other people to help them pass the UK citizenship test. The 61-year-old who has not been named helped men and women, both genders, gain an unfair advantage in the life of the UK test. The Home Office said. And so like, look at that. These are real photos. These aren't like these are photos of the chick. Look at all the different. Look at the man one.
Yeah. My hustle inside for a long time. I took GED tests.
Mm-hmm.
I would have the inmate would go down and he'd say, I don't have my ID and I'm trying to go to Chow. I got to go get another ID. And they print him off a picture of his ID on paper. Then I would take that down and I would put my picture right with a photocopier down at CMS. I would put my picture onto that piece of paper. So it looked like my face with that guy's. And then I would go down in the morning and take his GED test. And I got away with it, dude. I got away with it forever. And then one day I'm sitting in there and the cop walks in while I'm taking the test and he's like, "Hey, Rocco, what's going on?" And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, and the guy was like, "Rocco." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a nickname." And he's like, "How do you get Rocco from Timothy?" Timothy? His name ain't Timothy. Oh, and you know what's crazy? Yeah. I did not get in any trouble.
No, why not?
They don't hit the dude that's taking the tests, but they got the guy who I was taking the test for got in a lot of trouble. But but I did not. Someone I worked with did a citizen test, and all of us in the office tried to do it. It was rock hard, and we got loads wrong. Yeah, you know what? That's actually the same way in the U.S. If you take the citizen test for the U.S. as an American citizen born here, there's a really good chance you're going to fail it.
Yep.
There's a lot of questions on there you probably don't know. Galen had said, "Well, that's a good way for them not to have to pay any taxes." I think it's a little bit more than that. It's a way that you can take illegal money and launder it. You can take illegal money and make it clean and then not pay tax on it. That church is bringing in all of this money. Look at the cult of Scientology. You know, you have tax-free money coming in. It will grow at a rate you can't explain. And that's what Kris Jenner is doing with her church. I don't believe for a second that woman is a believer in God. In fact, I'd be afraid to be in a holy building with that woman. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near her. For real, she's a really scary human being. Hey, look what I found.
Yes. Hey, kitty. I know. I tried to wrangle my cat, but my cat's outside chasing mice or something. I don't know what she's doing.
She's living the good life. I'm getting bit.
Yeah.
My cat is chewing.
Did you see? Yesterday was Groundhog Day.
Yes, Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah. Yep. He predicted that we are definitely not to spring yet. Seen a shadow.
Do you know that he is 100% accurate?
Yeah.
That was announced yesterday. Punxsutawney Phil has never made a mistake as a prognosticator. As it turns out, because I was doing a little math and he's actually at 37%, which is a little less successful than tossing a coin. So what they had said was the problem is not Punxsutawney Phil. The problem is he speaks groundhogese, and sometimes there are problems with the people who are listening and they don't translate it well. But Phil has never been wrong.
That's funny. You know, so I'm watching this with my 6-year-old, right? And she's just like, come on, because she wants it to be summer, you know? Yeah. And they're trying to dig him out, and she's like, he ran away. I was like, no, he's in there, honey. And then when they announced that it's not spring yet, she jumps off my lap and she runs out and see her mom and her mom's friend, and she's like, worst day of my life. Like goes to her room and slams the door.
Well, you can tell her that Punxsutawney's not even batting 500. So she's
I'm gonna tell her.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell her. And then then it snowed so hard she gets a snow day today.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, how do you a snow day in Montana? Like we've never seen snow.
You would assume they could take care of it. Chris says, from now on, I will say no one is perfect except Jesus. And you have to say Punxsutawney Phil. If you don't, people are going to think you're talking about someone else.
Thank you,
I will
Kristen.
tell you this, believe it or not. When I was a freshman in college, so this was a few years back, in the 80s of last century, myself and a bunch of friends got in a car on the first day of February. After using the commode. And we drove to Punxsutawney, PA. We went to the Groundhog Festival in Punxsutawney. And it's funny. It was great because when they came out with the movie Groundhog, like I had actually gone and done that. And they really do party for days. Like I'm telling you, man, from like February 1st to February 3rd, they are partying. There are people outside dancing and they got bonfires and kegs. Like the town of Punxsutawney gets very into the Groundhog Festival. I had a really good time there. I really did.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. And they pull out this big fat groundhog. They take care of him all year, by the way. That is not, they don't get him for the, go find me a groundhog. Punxsutawney Phil grows his entire life and is taken care of by the Groundhog Association or whatever. And when Punxsutawney passes away, they get another. But that's the happiest animal in the world. All they do is get loved.
Yeah, that's
no
super
snow
cool.
in Cape Town. Well, why don't you rub that in, Miss Sunshine?
What's that? Oh, we don't have snow in Cape Town. Oh man, look at that. Look at that scene there. Man. Yeah.
Do you know what? We have, for whatever reason, a huge number of people from South Africa. The lifeboat's got a ton of them, which just proves that they're all on drugs. Which is why they're all finding the lifeboat, though. No,
lifeboat,
there's a lot that we really do have and they're the coolest people. They're all super active, and I love the South African crew. I badly want to go there.
I had a roommate. Really, my second apartment I ever had as a kid. I was 19. I had a roommate that was from South Africa, and he sold furniture next door to my mom's shoe store, and that's how I met him. And man, that dude loved cocaine, man. Loved cocaine.
They were the last place in the world to get rid of the 714. They were the last place on planet Earth. Yeah, they had the Mandrax version, the 714.
Yeah.
Beans.
Yeah.
Beans. They were making beans until I think it's been within the last decade, I think. And they're still all over the place, but they're manufactured like people make ecstasy pills. Over there, people make liquid pills. And a lot of people smoke it over there. They smoke.
Wow.
And I don't know if you've ever smoked. I don't know if you've ever smoked a Mandrax, but it's not something you would do twice. I promise.
No, I haven't. I told you I found what's that?
What did you find?
Oh, I told you I found a Soma in my toolbox. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. They don't even make those anymore, do they?
No, they still do. Carasoprodols. Yeah, no, they're still making those. They're never going to get rid of that. That is, that's probably the most popular reason that people go to Mexico. Valium and Soma. People drive down there too. You know what? I loved muscle relaxers. And I don't mean like a drug addict party kind of thing. I liked what a muscle relaxer could do to me because it just was so good for the back and all of that. And the trouble is, it is so close in my brain. It feels so similar to like the roll on heroin. I can't take it.
Yeah,
it's put on my list of things that I can't take ever again. But I was always a really big fan of Soma. I don't know if you were there, but when I was in Tucson. In Phoenix, you remember how they take the chairs and you would put a tennis ball on it?
Yep.
On the bottom so that you wouldn't hear your cellmate dragging the chair at night and get into a fist fight. Well, if you couldn't find a tennis ball, you would take a bunch of cloth and then put it on the bottom and tie it around.
And then wrap it.
I was going to put tennis balls onto my new chairs. So I'm pulling everything off with all of and I found a big old ball of black tar and about 40 pills. And the problem is I did it with a cellmate watching.
Damn it.
Worse, dude. Like, man, go to sleep, hug the wall. But he was like, oh, dude, let me get some of those pills. I'm like, you don't even know what they are, right? You don't know what they are, but you want a handful of them already. And he's like, you don't know what they are either. And I didn't. The number didn't make sense. So I gave the guy one. And looking at him, I thought for sure this had to be a painkiller or whatever. I mean, he was nodding But I had Soma on the yard. I think I probably had 40 of them. There was a bunch. And
I when I was taking them, and then they started me on buprenorphine for pain management instead of opiates. The two together my wife was like, she thought she had to take me to the emergency room. I I was just, falling asleep, and she was just super worried, so I had to stop taking them.
Yeah, they're Carisoprodol is no joke, and to me, it's the most fascinating of all of the substances in the U.S. because the name was around before the substance was. There she is.
Yep, here she is. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
She's got a snow day today. Yep.
Well, we're here to tell you that the groundhog was incorrect. I promise you.
I know.
No,
Yes,
the groundhog was wrong.
Yeah.
Remember you said it was the worst
mistake.
day of your life?
Yeah.
The summer's coming. I promise.
Summer's coming.
Yay.
I've been looking at Punxsutawney for years. He's very infrequently correct. He's cool looking, but he's not particularly correct. No, I don't know. Did you ever read Brave New World, Casper?
I have not.
So in the book Brave New World, the concept, it's Aldo Huxley, I think, is who wrote it. But the concept of the book is that we are created in the future. There's a lab cranking humans out for the planet, and they decide genetically, you're going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a bus driver, and they decide that before the person is born. Well, the bus driver, according to Aldo Huxley, isn't going to have as much fun in life, so they have to develop something for the non-smart people to keep them happy and having a good time. And what they developed was Soma, and it was given to you by the government 1 gram at a time. And they had these big like billboards up that would say nothing like a Soma holiday. When you didn't go to work, you took a holiday, but it was a Soma holiday. You would just sit at home and get, take the drug. And then they ended up making a company that came out with a muscle relaxer stole the name from, but it was before it was ever really a substance. They were writing about it as if it was one.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Amy, they are all given Soma, but the people at the top are given. It's a much smaller amount of the substance. They use the substance as a way to keep the dumb folk at the bottom pliable. It's a pretty fascinating book, actually.
I'm gonna put it in my my what do you call it? It sounds like Soku. The little mind teasers, or not mind teasers. What are those called? Sudoku. The Japanese word. There's a Japanese word called. It's called Sudoku. It sounds exactly the same, but that's the stack of books that's next to your table that you want to read. Yeah, that's actually called Sudoku. Yeah, it's like I don't know. Somebody told me that one time.
I keep a stack of books by the bed.
Yeah, that's your Sudoku.
We should probably be recommending great books. Somebody asked me the other day if I could recommend something. If you haven't read Chaos, that's one that you got to nail out. This is the guy that wrote the book on Charles Manson. It took him 20 some odd years to write it, and it's got a lot less to do with Charles Manson than it does our government, a lot of other stuff, but it's one of the most fascinating reads.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm trying to read that.
I'm reading it right now for the second time because it's a book that you absolutely have to read twice.
Have you read any, what's his name? Bunker, Education of a Felon, those books?
Yes.
It's not Archie Bunker. It's something else.
No, but it's, the name's Bunker, but it's not Archie.
Okay.
Archie was from the.
I mean, obviously, it's not Archie. Yeah.
Archibald. Are you aware of how the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, is messing with medications at pain clinics? I was on Soma, Carisoprodol, but the Food and Drug Administration issued a rule that if you take an opiate, you can't take Soma. Really pissed me off. I don't blame you. This is in response, and it's a knee-jerk reaction because it's what we do in the United States. It's always what we do. We do a knee-jerk reaction. We never take and do something intelligent, right? Everybody gets strung out on OxyContin. We go, nobody else ever gets any more OxyContin. And we send all of those people to the street to go buy heroin. Then we get more overdoses than you've ever seen in your life. They come back and go, write a prescription to whoever wants it for whatever. It's never something that's intelligent. But the reason that they're doing this is because Carisoprodol, which is the ingredient in Soma, is a very heavy-duty respiratory depressant. What it does, and I wish there was a better word that made more sense, because respiratory depressant just makes it sound like you're not going to breathe. It's going to stop you from breathing, and that's not really what they're saying. You're going to continue to breathe, but if you've ever seen somebody with sleep apnea who goes like the back of their throat will shut, and then they have to break through, and there's that.
Yeah.
You get so relaxed that when you run out of air, instead of going, you just go, all right, and your body just lets it go, and you die of oxygen starvation. That is what people who overdose die from. Your heart doesn't explode, or all the things you hear people say. What happens is you stop breathing, and your body doesn't care enough to continue. Which is why if you see someone overdosing and you take your knuckle like this and you put it right in the little opening and you go all the way down as hard as you can on the chest bone, back and forth. It's called a sternum rub. And what it does is it forces your body to go, right? Whether you want it to or not, it's going to force you to take that lung full of air that you're not taking, because carisoprodol, alcohol, Valium, all of these things are respiratory depressants. They don't want the doctor giving you multiple respiratory depressants anymore. The big fear being you go home and have a beer on it. 1 + 1 = 3. You take alcohol and mix it with anything that works in your body. And instead of 1 + 1 = 2, 1 + 1 = 3. It multiplies the strength. So anybody taking OxyContin, carisoprodol, Soma, and then a beer, yeah, you're flirting with a kind of disaster that's killing 300 people a day. I understand that they probably made an error in judgment, but this is what we do. We're gonna make it now that they're not going to be able to give out multiple, respiratory depressants in one prescription, which isn't great.
Yeah, and I think that's what was going on with the buprenorphine and the Soma. I was.
The combo of the two, knocking you the hell out. Yeah. Well, and you won't notice buprenorphine. See, that's a problem for any addicts. Buprenorphine is not going to do anything to you. It's just going to keep you from, but it is doing something to you. Like you don't realize it is because we're junkies, right? But if you gave that, you've seen a guy in prison take a 32 cat, right? Wasted. Yeah. Right. He's taking or a 16th of a strip, and he's sitting in the day room doing this one, and you're like, how does that happen? Right?
Yeah.
What is this? I remember the first time that people told me that somebody in prison was on, I was like, what? They're not now.
Yeah.
What? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I can eat every strip you got in your room and you wouldn't know that I did it.
Yeah.
Yes. Corcoran State Prison is a famous prison. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Russ did a pretty good length rip at Corcoran.
Yep. TM tell it. Yep.
It's a dangerous prison.
I have had an uncle. My uncle Ernie was in Corcoran for a really long time. We used to go visit him up there, and I never made it there. I never made it past really classification, which was Chino, and then I got pulled out. Yeah. So. Yeah.
You know what? I believe this, and I will say I am sorry to you, right? And I will apologize to everybody else out there who takes their medication because they're in pain and they take it the right way, because it's people like me and Casper that have made it so that doctors, they have to assume that everybody is going to take medication the way that Casper and I did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's and it really is people like us that have caused this to happen. And
it really is.
And I wish that wasn't the case. It's something that honestly I spend a decent amount of time thinking about, because the biggest victims, as I see it right now in the war on drugs, are the families that lost loved ones. But the second biggest victims are people who are trying to manage their pain, and they get treated like they're Keith Richards, right? Because they're in pain. And that's the stigma that goes along with taking pain medication. The people who write to me every day saying, I have to get off pain meds. Why? Well, because I'm on pain meds, right? I shouldn't be taking pain meds. If you're in pain and you're taking the stuff the way it's written out on the side of the bottle, and you never exceed that, there's nothing wrong with you taking that. You shouldn't feel guilty about it. You're not a bad person for doing it. You're treating pain. If you were treating blood pressure, people wouldn't give you crap. Personally, I can't do it. He can't do it. But there are a lot of people out there that need that, and they're not drug addicts.
No, but that is a good point.
Does that shock you a little bit?
What?
I prescribe buprenorphine for cats all the time. It works great. I'm absolutely shocked by that. If you don't mind me going off on a little bit of a geeking out nerd thing, how do you give buprenorphine to a cat? I got to assume, right? It's not.
They're not putting it under their tongue. I promise you.
Right? Yeah. Is it the side? Are you doing the buccal thing with the? Do you have to inject that into a cat? How do you get that into a cat? And how little of an amount do you have to be able to? I'm blown away by that.
Yeah, it's got to be a tiny, minuscule amount. Yeah.
They give tons of ketamine to cats. And I did not know that. That was something that was new to me when we started doing this. You did?
I did know that.
Yeah, I did not. I thought, when they call it on the street, they used to call it cat piss, right? There was a lot of Special K, but that cat thing got used so much. I just thought it was one of those, it's oral. So we use a tiny syringe in the corner of the mouth, and we have to compound usually with tuna or chicken flavor. That makes sense. That makes sense. I tell you what, I would prefer tuna flavored buprenorphine. That orange is
I love Galen, by the way. Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's how I've been
I can't
treated.
wait to
Go ahead.
Tell people that.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I love having that information that no one knows. Yeah. I'm like what's his name from Cheers? What's that?
Norm? Which one from Cheers?
Norm's buddy that has all the useless information. I love having that information. It's Cliff Clavin. Yeah, yeah.
He's a Vermonter, If you go to Vermont, you go to Burlington, Vermont, and you walk by this house, and they have a plaque out there, and it says, "This is the home of U.S. mail carrier Clifton Clavin."
Cliff Clavin.
They've got a big. I remember walking by and going, "You got to be kidding, dude! Cliff Clavin's got his own."
I wonder where the actor's from. Because he has that accent. That's his real accent.
He does it perfectly. He's got to be from New England.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Nana of 2 says, that's how I've been treated. I live with chronic pain, so many medical problems. They just won't give me anything. So depression has set in. It's awful. It is.
Oh man.
It is. And I am sorry for you. I'm sorry that you have to endure that. And on behalf of those of us that have tainted the medical system permanently, I apologize. This is one of the side effects of this terrible freaking disease. If we were open as a society and we could have conversations with people, and work if we didn't treat drug addicts as lepers, if we treated them as people that had a disease that we had to fix,
I'll be right back.
Wouldn't fake
I'll be
it.
right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't fake it. They wouldn't go in there to fake injuries if there was somebody out there that was actually helping people. Shell says Beyonce got country album of the year. What the actual hell is that? Total BS. Well, they own the Grammys, don't they? I'm not making that up. They own the Grammys. Is there anybody that doubts that? They have together more Grammys than any two people in history. Right there, the married couple with the most Grammys. And you know something? If you look at 50 Cent, I don't dig any of this music, folks. I'm an old guy. But to just look at someone and appreciate the talent within their genre, I don't have to like bowling to see a guy that can throw 12 strikes in a row and go, damn, that's impressive. If you had more number one hits on your first album than the Beatles, it does not make sense that you don't have a Grammy. Does anybody follow me on that? It does not make any sense to me at all that you could have more number one hits on your first album than the Beatles did, but not get a Grammy. And 50 Cent doesn't have a Grammy. Do you know why? Because the Carters won't let him have one.
Yeah.
They run the Grammys. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me, but they do. She won album for best country album. Do you think she picks those Grammys herself? Does she say, this year you're going to give me this? How does it work?
Yeah.
Because it ain't real.
I watched a few clips this morning looking for, some, train wreck stuff and couldn't find anything, but I did see a couple clips with Sean Carter in them. And I was watching his face to see if I could see that, that I'm pretending to try to be normal, but because I know I'm going to prison soon, and I could kind of see it. And, and I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm not going to, say, oh yeah, I seen it. Like I was really just trying to see it. And if I didn't see it, I would be like, yeah, he's just, he's, aloof to it or doesn't think he's going to get in any trouble. I could kind of see that.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I could kind of see it.
There's no doubt. I saw it the first time on the red carpet when they went out for, so here's the thing. If you know anything about this guy, one of the things that makes Jay famous, right? Especially among the elites in the paparazzi, he's patient as hell. He will stand around and let you take a gazillion pictures. He will turn in the direction you want him to. The paparazzi allegedly gives him a lot less crap because instead of fighting them, he'll work with them. He's very cool with saying, all right, come on, let's get some pictures taken. If you watch him on that red carpet, 30 seconds in, he went, all right, we're out of here. Let's go. We're done. We're done. I mean, just not him. Like, this is not his style. He wanted out of there. They're in a bad situation. And I think we probably don't think in terms of rich and famous. We think in terms of normal and us. But he had Disney calling, going, what do you mean you're not going to the premiere of this movie? Sorry about whatever the hell's going on in your life, but you're contractually obligated to be on the red carpet for this film with your wife and your kid. Bring your mother-in-law. We'll see you there. He didn't want to go down and do that. God help us, man. 50 Cent talked about it, and it was so funny. 50 Cent said he looked like one of them hostage videos. When you see, he said, I'm being treated very well here. My captors have been great.
I wish we could get 50 Cent on the show, man. That would be awesome, man.
Yeah, no way. I mean,
maybe in time, if the show takes off, maybe we can pull him on.
Would be more fun to have Curtis in here because he doesn't care. He was doing an interview the other day, and they were talking about how in the his attorney said they're friends from the industry, right? Like, yeah, I know Casper. He's a YouTuber. You know, if he wasn't a YouTuber, I wouldn't know him. It's patently absurd. Right? Well, it's the exact same principle. That's what's been going on, right? And 50 Cent is sitting there watching, and he's showing clips, right, on this morning show, and he's like, here they are at the Black Billionaire Club for Excellence. He's like, I see him toasted. All right, see y'all next year. He's like, yeah, that's it. It's the only time he's going to see him this year is at their luncheon where they're all holding hands. He goes, and the look on his face, and it's true. Diddy's up there talking about how we're going to be excellent, we're going to be this, and you got Jay-Z like this. The look on that man's face, honest to God.
That superficial smile. Yeah.
What's really funny is I did an interview on somebody else's channel, and there was some I don't want to give out who this is. Anyway, there was a black dude I was talking with after one of the interviews, and he said, you know, he's been doing this a lot longer than I have, right? He's really been following this. And he said, if you ever saw the two of them together, Jay will absolutely defer to Diddy. Like, Diddy's the king, and he's kind of the second.
I have seen that.
And that's obvious sort of everywhere that you go. And at the time I was like, you know, it's obvious to anyone watching. He goes, anyone watching. I think he got sick and tired. I think he's happy as hell that this dude's gone. Right? I don't think he's happy he's gonna get into it, but I think he's happy as hell that that dude's gone.
Yeah.
What do you think about someone with a legit prescription for a benzo who has abused it 3 times over 10 years? Are they at risk of addiction? 2 times in the last 5 months. You know, this is above my pay grade. And what I mean is this. I can't answer any questions about who is and who is not at risk for abuse. I will say this. Everybody at some level is at risk for abuse. There are people that are just vicious about not letting it happen, but these substances are hard. Because I happen to actually know your story, I will weigh in on this because you and I know each other. I don't think that I think that you're controlling this beautifully. In fact, I think that since we're doing this, I think you probably don't take it as much as you should. I'm sorry, but you have been written a prescription for anxiety, and you're terrified to take the anxiety medication, even when you're going through anxiety.
In fear of you're
so afraid of the substance enslaving you that you don't take it when you need it. There's a reason they wrote you the prescription, right? It is a chemical reason. It's not every once in a while you need to relax. This is something that you actually need, and there are people out there that do. You can't be afraid to take a medication that a professional wrote to you. You're not abusing it. You're not in any danger of it. I think that the respect that you give the substance is incredible. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not. I'm a drug addict, but you don't exhibit the symptoms that most drug addicts do that would make me really afraid of you having that. The fact that it's been in your house for as long as it is, and you've abused it 3 times in 10 years, a person who's really at risk of abusing that stuff, they're going to abuse it every single day. That bottle will be empty by the end of it. You're not abusing it. And I think you shouldn't be afraid medication's written for you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm going to put Lisa on my prayer list.
Good.
That's got to be horrible to be worried That's just got to be an internal struggle. That's got to just really stink, man. And yeah, I'm sorry, Lisa, that you're going that's kind of happening. Not to put.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if we've ever done anything as a channel for anybody. If you're written a prescription and the prescription you take when you are suffering from anxiety, then when you have anxiety, take the pill. When you don't have anxiety, don't.
Yeah.
There it is, right? You will never have a problem if you take it the way that it is intended to be taken. Now, if you say, well, I can't do that, then you're a drug addict. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right? You have a disease. If you can't do it the way that it's written on the side of the bottle, and there are people who will say, well, I can't because I'm in pain. I used to say that too. But because it's a lot easier to say the only reason that I keep taking this stuff is because I've never met a heroin addict that didn't have a pain problem. I haven't. I've never met a junkie that couldn't tell you all of the things on them that hurt. And one of the reasons is our brain is far more powerful than you can imagine. You can take your finger, put it on a table, and whack it with a hammer. That is a mechanism, right? The hammer mechanism caused your pain. It did damage to you. Your brain can make the same thing happen without the hammer. It's called psychosomatic pain. Doesn't make it fake. You're feeling the exact same thing, but there's no mechanism, right? If we know that the brain can do that, then we know it can. Nobody argues that. Science doesn't argue it. So psychosomatic pain is real. What that means, whether we like it or not, is the pain you're experiencing that's driving you to take pain medication may or may not be real. And I'm not saying it feels the same. So it's real. But if there's no mechanism, then you can get to a point where you won't need that medication to treat the pain. It's a long process. I've been working on it for a long time, but you can get to a point where you can get over that.
Yeah, and here's proof of the mind and how powerful it is. Have you ever been like really dope sick and then just got it in your hand and like your runny nose goes away, my back doesn't hurt as bad, and you're just like, what the heck? Yeah. Because
your brain, there's two components to every single addiction. And this is another thing that is lost. Science has figured out that addiction is driven by a malfunctioning reward center in the brain. So when you got handed that bag of dope, your brain, before the fix, went and released all of the chemicals that said, good job, Casper. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Go get that chemical, get it in your hand, go home and fix. Good job. Most important thing of the day, and you did it. Well done. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You have to get to a point where you rewire the reward center of your brain. When someone comes in and writes, if it wasn't for the lifeboat, I would have gotten high last night. My brain does the same thing that it used to do when dope man puts a bag of dope in my hand. When someone sends me an email and said, I talked to my kids about drugs last night because I watched a show that you did. If you watched me, you could literally see me catch a buzz.
No,
you can get again, and it's this is what we're all trying to do. Find what makes you happy. Do the right thing and let your brain reward you for it. And you know what you're going to feel like? A junkie that just got over on someone. Like the first time I got a buzz, I can remember the person. I can remember I was doing the lifeboat and a person reached out and said, last night I found your show as I was opening a bottle of bourbon. And I drank it, but I didn't drink all of it. And it's the first time I haven't finished a bottle ever. The person is still on the boat. But when this started, I remember thinking to myself, what the hell just happened? I mean, like literally it was so palpable that, God, I'm feeling something. What the hell just happened? And I am absolutely addicted to it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that's why, like in the 12-step program, they did, helping others, and that's really, really, really what gives us longevity to stay clean.
Had a spiritual awakening, right?
And
bringing this to others.
Yep. Whenever I do have a sponsor, and I'm just like kind of get stagnant. I'm like, man, I have all the blessings in the world. Now I'm starting to feel guilty a little bit about having all these awesome blessings. What can I do? Because this is when I burn it down, right?
Yes,
I burn it down when I'm just like awesome. And they always tell me, go help someone, get to a meeting, sponsor more people, do something more, because
our default setting
now you're in the red zone.
Yeah, our default setting has been failure, right? Completely. Our default setting is failure. So when you begin to get success, your brain is in there going, the hell is this? Right? This doesn't feel right. You should have no money in your pocket. You should be lying to somebody, and you should be setting up your next scam, because that is comfortable. That is what we have dealt with forever. Now you want me to change? I don't want to change. So go back and do your dope. And your brain, this is why we say your brain is not your best friend, right? Your brain is your worst enemy. It doesn't want to work hard. If you're experiencing new things every day, it's working hard. It's also the greatest thing in the world. You're creating new memories. It's sad that as a species and as a creature, we get to an age where we don't want to do new things. We just want to continue to do the same things we do every day because it's just so comfortable. I don't want to see a new movie. I don't want to go to a new restaurant, but I like the restaurant I get to. I like exactly what, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't work for me anymore at all. It can't. I need new experiences. I need new memories. And the beautiful thing about what we do is he's right. When I'm helping somebody else, I'm not in my head thinking about all of the things that are wrong in my life. And that's a fairly healthy thing, not to do full time, but to be able to take time to try to help somebody other than yourself will have effects on you you can't imagine. And guess what? This isn't a theory of Casper's or Tommy's. Science will tell you that the ultimate release of feel-good brain chemicals in the body is caused by servitude. No joke. This is science. Yeah. Go and work at a soup kitchen and watch what it does to your brain. Because when you choose to help somebody that needs help, and there's nothing that you're going to gain from it, you're doing it for no other reason than you're doing the right thing. Your brain goes, "Oh, I'll give you something for it." Right?
Yeah.
I'll get you high. It almost proves, in my opinion, that the opposite of addiction really is connection, and the opposite of every other problem that is, plaguing us as a society and as a person is absolutely that we have separated from the clan. We don't have a clan anymore. We don't have a group anymore. We don't get together. You realize that back in the day, if you said, "Hey, I'm getting a divorce," me and the old lady, nowadays guys go, "Oh man, it sucks." Back in the day, they would grab you and go to your house. The hell do you mean you're getting a divorce? And then your friends would go talk to your wife, like the ladies would be talking. Everybody in the tribe, in the community, would do everything possible to save that marriage. There is no community anymore. There is no tribe. Guys don't go out. In the old days, my parents used to go out. There were 4 things a week that they did. Like they went to this thing or they went to that thing, or, the guys went and did. There's nothing anymore. We don't go out and do things as a society. There aren't clubs. Those things are going away. We're all spending a lot of time staring at phones. I love what we do because I feel like we're reimagining social media. I really do. I feel like we're doing some healthy stuff.
Yep.
I don't know what this is. You?
And this is where it's at. Have you seen Volley at the Grammy? It looks like those alien roaches. No, I didn't see that.
That might be.
Oh, we're about to.
Yeah,
we're about
you gotta
to.
look that, and I'll tell you why you have to look this up. Oddly enough, so I can't watch movies if I haven't seen them before. Right? I can watch movies I've seen in the past, and I don't get a migraine. If I'm watching something I've never seen before, my brain trying to put all of those pictures together to make something work gives me a wicked headache. So Men in Black, like that's a film I can continually rewatch. Films I've seen in the past are not an issue. And I watched it about 3 days ago for the first time in a long time. So the roaches, the alien roaches are in my head. But I don't know who Volley is. Do you? Am I just trying to
it might be a misspelling when she sent the message.
Voldemort. No, it's Volley as in Voldemort.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Now I got it.
Yes, now I get it. Yes, I did see it, and someone did a comparison to Voldemort and Cam Newton. Have you ever seen that picture of Cam Newton with that hat and he's got his hair sticking out?
No.
You know who Cam Newton is, though.
I know the football player.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna pull it up. It's so funny, and I think Lisa will agree with me. I'm already laughing at it because I need to see it.
Hey, Galen, I am glad you are that you found us and our tribe. I really am. I'm glad that you found our tribe.
Oh yeah,
make no mistake. That's what we're doing here. Is we're building a tribe. We're building a group of people that care more than they don't. Have a great day, Galen, and come and see me on Atwood to be sure.
Are you going to be on Atwood today? Yes, you said.
Yes, I am going on Atwood today at I think 2:00 my time. Tommy, you were absolutely correct. Our society has gone to hell in a handbasket. There are no connection anymore. My neighbors don't talk to one another. It's kind of the way it is, isn't it? Oh, the alien roaches that always drank the coffee. Yeah, I loved those guys. The worms.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. What do you think of that? Nice hat, Cam.
Are you woofing me? He has his dreads hanging out the top of the hat.
Yeah. It's pretty
Are
crazy.
you kidding?
Yeah. And I love Cam. Don't get it twisted. I'm a
That is the
super
dumbest thing
fan.
I have ever seen, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like Cam too, but what are you thinking, bro? What are you
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah. Now geez, Cam, come on, man. What's going on? But yes, you know who showed me that was Cat Williams.
Cat Williams was the one that brought that up?
Yeah, he brought that up on Theo. Theo brought it up to Cat, and because they had the nutcrackers, the black nutcracker from Hobby Lobby or from Michael's, and Cat was like, yeah, they used my image for that nutcracker. He's and they showed two nutcrackers together, and he's like, yeah, that's me and Cam Newton standing together.
Yeah, I didn't get the reference, but I watched that interview. Yeah, that's a great interview. Oh, you know what, James? That is so cool, man. A new word for people like Tommy and Sam, care-apists.
Awesome.
I absolutely love it. I really do, man. That is so damn cool. Lisa says, worms with limbs. They weren't just coffee drinkers, you know. If you notice that,
I love it.
They also smoked a lot of Marlboro Reds. Yeah, when they were leaving, when they were leaving the planet, they were carrying an entire. They had a whole thing they were pulling full of Marlboro Reds. They'll be back. You know, they didn't bring.
Yeah,
but those things always had a cigarette burning. They were always drinking, and they were fond of playing Twister. I could hang out with these guys. I'll be honest with you. Maybe they could switch to vaping so it didn't stink as much. I could probably hang out with those guys.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Absolutely great question. How can a former addict be someone's sponsor without wanting to take or use a drink? So I can use me as an example because I'm not a drinker, but my substance of choice was H. And I started working with people 2 or 3 years into my sobriety. I could not have worked with one of them one-on-one and been in the same room with them, or I would have relapsed. There's not a doubt in my mind. To this day, I don't work with people who are addicted to the substance that I'm addicted to, any opioid or any opiate. If I'm in the same place as them, I will not work with them. I'm not going to someone's house that has dope in it. That's not something I can handle. I know after this will be 10 years off of heroin in this June. And I've learned that the way I stay sober is I don't start the fight in the first place. If I don't start the fight, then I win the fight, right? I have beat smack because I'm never going to do it again. But it took a very long time to be comfortable enough to even discuss the stuff. In the first 2 or 3 years, I'm not kidding. The discussions that we had here today, I would have been going like this, right? You would have been noticing all kinds of affectations where I start looking like Pookie, you know, from New Jack City. But the longer you've been away from that, most of the people that you see who do sponsor, they're not doing it 2 years in. They're not doing it 3 years in. You have to get, you need to get some really solid sobriety under your belt. You have to have a plan, so to speak. And
some,
go ahead.
Some meetings in my area will encourage guys to start sponsoring guys right out of the gate. 90 days clean, 6 months clean, and inevitably they both go back out.
Absolutely. It's a terrible idea.
It's a super terrible idea. My home group, that's the guys your sponsor is going to have 20 years or at least 10 years. There's no rule, but that's just the way it is. But the sponsorship where I go, it's militant. If you're 10 seconds late on the call, well, maybe not 10 seconds, but if you're a minute late, then you're not putting your recovery above everything else. Yeah.
You're not serious about it.
Yep.
Lisa says, what was the reason for using H? So just a 30-second synopsis of my drug history. I experimented with everything. I tried weed and found that I was a little bit more comfortable in my own skin when I did it. Cocaine did the same thing, right? I tried everything. And I had been taking pain medication for years because I was always injured, but I never really caught a buzz because the pain meds was actually treating the problem. And at the end of every ski season, I would get dope sick. But if you don't know it's dope sick, you think you're just sick. And then 4 or 5 days later, you start feeling better and your sleep kind of comes back. As dumb as it sounds, I didn't realize any of this. But the first time that I took pain meds when I didn't have pain, then it took care of my spiritual, my emotional, my psychological pain. And the next thing you knew, I was a guy that was perfect. I felt like I assumed everyone else felt. And I stuck with pain meds and I ate pills and that's all I did. Until the insurance company said, we're not giving you any more pills, right? OxyContin, we're paying $80 a pill for. That's what the insurance companies were paying. And they were giving me 12 a day. So they pulled the plug. And I found the cheapest way to get the exact same medicine into my body was H. It wasn't any other reason other than that.
Yeah. Yeah. My without the skiing, my story's similar. So I'll just leave it at that.
Everybody's right. Everybody's story who was addicted to anything. The substance made you comfortable in your own skin for the first time, and you go with the cheapest and the most, the best bang for your buck. So if you're somebody that snorts blow, you may end up progressing to where you shoot it because it's going to get a hell of a lot more bang for the buck, right? Or smoke it or whatever. Usually,
you'll look like a pincushion though when you shoot it.
Cushion, especially with blow, and it wears out your veins instantly. You will just keep shooting one after the other.
Yeah.
My psych studied addiction, so she wouldn't prescribe the potent things. Well, it's I definitely shouldn't be. I am a person that can't be prescribed stuff that can be habit forming. I don't, because I am by nature uncomfortable being me. I have a very serious effort to not take anything that will allow me to feel comfortable being me. Fake. If I'm going to be comfortable being me, it's going to have to be because I'm hitting all of the buttons. I'm rounding first and second and third. I'm helping people. I'm not doing the things that made me a bad person. That's how I am comfortable in my own skin. But it took 46 years to realize that was a possibility. It's the reason that there's a lifeboat. And I are doing the morning show so that there are people out there that can believe that they got a shot. Squirrel.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good one. This is because of that damn kid. Honest to God, Squirrel is like, quick story to end on though with Squirrel. I give Squirrel treats 8 feet off the ground, 10 feet off the ground. It's always been the way it is. Her treats are put as high as you can go because Squirrel likes hanging out up there anyway. And so I usually put the treats way up high. Last night I had treats up there for Squirrel Nut. She's never once in all the time that I've known her spill anything, knock anything down. And her little sister was trying to jump up onto the thing with her. She's not big enough to do it. So the little kitten's looking up there and shaking her butt and doing all this. Squirrel went and knocked 2 of the treats off onto the floor for her sister.
What?
She just went like this and pushed 2 of the treats off the edge down onto the floor. And I've never once seen her knock anything off. She did it so that the little kitten could have a couple of treats. Squirrel's a pisser. She's a really, really great kid.
Wow, man. That is so cool. That is so cool.
It really is.
Well, I'm going to definitely have to, for the next show, we're kind of figuring this thing out, getting it going. Well, I'll definitely have some more stuff in the hopper, for the time. Not that we're running out of stuff to talk about, because our viewers have the best questions in the world, man.
No question.
Or comments, man.
There's actually going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow morning, because I happen to know that, there'll be a lot to talk about tomorrow morning.
Okay, I can't wait. Yeah.
Waving to your cuter.
And she came and stole some paper.
Good for her. She's learning.
Yeah.
Did she get Dad's artistic gene? Is she a drawer?
Dude. Yeah, she drew some minions yesterday, and
where does her thumb go?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't done that with her yet, but I will. God, you remember that? That's crazy.
I don't
crazy.
forget anything, Casper. I'm a freak.
Yeah.
I am a freak.
Yeah. But
I knew,
she drew
I knew
this
as soon as you said it.
This panda.
Oh,
she drew that.
wow.
Yeah, just
she
out
got
right out of her head.
Yep.
Yeah.
She got Dad's gift. That's beautiful. That really is. That's beautiful. My daughter, we had been separated for a lot of years, and when we finally linked up when she was 12, we started talking, and she says, I said, what are your favorite subjects in school? She's like, I'd tell you, but you'd laugh at me. I'm like, well, give me a try. And she's like, theater and public speaking. And I was like, yeah. Has your mom told you anything about me? A word, anything? She's like, she didn't know I was in a film. She didn't know any of that. So when I told her, I was like, well, I was a public speaker and studied theater in school. And it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, pretty wild. You've got to elaborate on the thumb thing. No, I don't. Go ahead, Casper. Tell them the thumb thing.
So naturally, we all like if we put our hands together, if you just put your hands together and it feels comfortable. That's how you always do it. Try doing it like the other way with your thumb crossed the other way, and it feels totally unnatural.
Right.
Well, people whose left thumb crosses their right are 10 out of 10, usually artists, actors, creatives. People who do it the other way are more, like can do math and things like that. I mean, I can do a little math, but I can't do algebra. Was never able to figure it out. But yeah, it's a trip to just try it. Or maybe it's just the thumb, not even the fingers. If you just, but whatever you do, just try it the opposite and it feels unnatural. So check yourself out, put your hands together and see where your thumb lands. If it's left over right, then you're most likely have some artistic ability.
To draw is probably there. And it's funny because since Casper said this to me, every single artist I have met, right? Any tattoo artist, anybody that did portraits or anything, I would say, do me a favor and do this with your hands. And I wouldn't tell them why or whatever, and I would just watch them. And you've never been wrong. I've never once seen somebody.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's how accurate, but since you pointed it out to me, it's been spot on. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a trip.
That's why I probably remembered it, because it's
yeah.
And I don't forget a lot of stuff. I wish I forgot more stuff than I do. Although I shouldn't say that because it's coming true. But I used to really, really be plagued with memory. But I've gotten better at getting rid of the ones I don't like without.
Well, yeah. If it's an obsessive memory about bad things that we can't heal from yet, then yeah, that would stink. Yeah.
Yep. To be sure. Someone else.
Yeah.
Or South Africa. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right,
awesome.
Peeps. That brings us to the end of the show. We will be back tomorrow, and I'll tell you something. Don't miss it, because there is a lot of really interesting stuff that, in theory, is going to happen today.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I can't either. And don't miss me over on Atwood later this afternoon, people, and make sure that you stop by and hit subscribe to Johnny Scoville and to Reese as well. All righty.
Yes, sir.
You are a gentleman and a scholar. Take us out of here.
You too, my friend. All right. See you guys later.